Hello and welcome to today's video on Agile Manifesto 12 Principles. The objectives of this video are to tell you what is the Agile Manifesto, the history of the Agile Manifesto, the 4 Agile values, the 12 Agile principles, and the Agile Manifesto's relevance for today. So let's begin. Let's begin with first, what is the Agile Manifesto? The Agile Manifesto is a document that sets out the key values and principles that are behind the Agile philosophy and serves to help development teams work more efficiently and sustainably. It was known officially as the Manifesto for Agile Software Development. The manifesto details 4 values and 12 principles. Each of these will be discussed shortly in this video. Acting as a proclamation, the Agile Manifesto is designed to improve software development methodologies and directly respond to the inefficiency of traditional development processes, namely their reliance on weighty documentation and opportunity for oversight. While the original document specifically set out to help software developers build business solutions in a faster and more efficient way, it has had a huge impact on wider development industries and beyond. To read the entire Agile Manifesto, you can go to the link that's shown on this slide, agilemanifesto.org. So let's look at just a brief history of the Agile Manifesto. Although various Agile principles have been around since the 1970s, the manifesto itself, and the full definition of Agile philosophy, was created at the dawn of the new millennium. In early 2001, a group of 17 developers held 2 meetings, first in Oregon and the second in Utah, to discuss issues and solutions in software development, which is how the manifesto was first born. Put simply, the manifesto was written as a response to major frustration with the traditional development processes of the 1990s. The explosion of personal computing meant that product and software development had undergone significant changes, and developers at the meeting, and indeed across the wider industry, felt that the status quo was no longer working. The lag time between business needs and solutions being developed, as an average of 3 years, and the standard processes at this point were unwielding, unsatisfactory, and overburdened with documentation and oversight. The 17 developers who met in Oregon and Utah named themselves the Agile Alliance and proposed a new way of working based around a set of values and principles that would restore credibility to the word methodology. The manifesto was designed to empower developers, to speed up processes, and to help encourage working practices that focused more directly on the users. The values and principles allowed teams to be adaptive, to respond quickly and effectively to change, and to be in a state of constant reimagination underpinned by frequent customer feedback. Published in February of 2001, the manifesto has since formed the basis of a vast array of frameworks, methodologies, and different ways of working. Let's first discuss here now the 4 Agile values. Each Agile methodology applies to 4 values in different ways, but all of them rely on them to guide the development and delivery of high-quality working software. First, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. The first value here is valuing people more highly than processes or tools, which is easy to understand because it is the people who respond to business needs and drive the development processes. If the process or the tool drive development, the team is less responsive to change and less likely to meet the customer's needs. Communication is an example of a difference between valuing individual versus process. In the case of individual, communication is fluid and happens when a need arises. In the cases of processes, communication is scheduled and requires specific content. Number 2, working software over comprehensive documentation. Historically, enormous amounts of time were spent on documenting the product for development and ultimate delivery. Technical specifications, technical requirements, technical prospectus, interface design documents, test plans, documentation plans, and approvals required for each. The list was extensive, and it was a cause for a long delay in development. Agile does not eliminate documentation, but it streamlines it in a form that gives the developer what is needed to do the work without getting bogged down in minutia. Agile documents requirements are user stories, which are sufficient for a software developer to begin the task of building a new function. So the Agile Manifesto values documentation, but it values working software more. Number 3, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Negotiation is the period when the customer and the product manager work out the details of a delivery, with points along the way where the details may get renegotiated. Collaboration is a different creature entirely. With development models such as waterfall, customers negotiate the requirements for the product, often in great detail, prior to any work starting. This meant the customer was involved in the process of development before the development began and after it was completed, but not during the process. The Agile Manifesto describes a customer who is engaged and collaborates throughout the development process, and this makes it far easier for development to meet the needs of the customer. Agile methods may include the customer at intervals for periodic demos, but a project could just as easily have an end user as a daily part of the team and attending all meetings, ensuring that the product meets the business needs of the customer. And number 4, responding to change over following a plan. Traditional software development regarded change as an expense, so it was to be avoided. The intention was to develop detailed, elaborate plans with a defined set of features and with everything generally having a high level of priority as everything else, and a large number of many dependencies on delivering in a certain order, so that the team could work on the next piece of the puzzle. The 12 Agile Principles. Number 1, customer satisfaction through early and continuous software delivery. The highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Customers are happier when they receive working software at regular intervals rather than waiting an extended period of time between releases. Number 2, accommodate changing requirements throughout the development process. Welcoming change requirements even late in the development is part of Agile. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. The ability to avoid delays when a requirement or feature request changes is part of this. Number 3, frequent delivery of working software. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter time scale. Scrum accommodates this principle since the team operates in software sprints or iterations and ensures regular delivery of working software. 4, collaboration between the business stakeholders and developers throughout the project. Client and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Better decisions are made when the business and technical teams are aligned. 5, support, trust, and motivate the people involved. Build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. Motivated teams are more likely to deliver their best work better than unhappy teams. 6, enable face-to-face interactions. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversations. So communication is more successful when development teams are co-located, but it doesn't mean they can't be done remote through webcams. 7, working software is the primary measure of progress. Working software is the primary measure of progress. It delivers functional software to the customer and is the ultimate factor that measures progress. 8, agile processes to support a consistent development pace. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Teams establish a repeatable and maintainable speed at which they can deliver working software, and then they repeat it with each release. 9, attention to technical detail and design enhances agility. Now, the right skills and good design ensures that the team can maintain the pace, constantly improve the product, and sustain change. 10, simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential, so develop just enough to get the job done for right now. 11, self-organizing teams encourage great architectures, requirements, and designs. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. Skilled and motivated team members who have decision-making power take ownership, communicate regularly with other team members, and share ideas that deliver quality products. And 12, regular reflections on how to become more effective. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Self-improvement, process improvement, advancing skills and techniques help team members work more efficiently. The Agile Manifesto's relevance today. The beauty of the Agile Manifesto is that despite changes in the industry has seen, and despite the passage of time, and despite the fact that it has been applied to sectors and organizations far beyond its original scope, the manifesto's flexibility and adaptive nature means that it continues to be relevant today. Agile is a mentality, a philosophy, and the manifesto sets out principles and values rather than prescribing certain processes. This means that plenty of developers work with an agile mindset without even realizing it. The manifesto merely formalizes how many successful teams have always worked. The real problem with the manifesto today is not whether it is relevant, but how it is applied, or rather how it's applied incorrectly. In part, due to its flexibility, one of the biggest problems with Agile is that some teams describe themselves as such without properly applying or understanding the underlying principles. Plenty of Agile teams, for example, sometimes use the manifesto as an excuse to abandon traditional development processes and to reject rigor without ever really considering the fundamentals behind the Agile mindset. When used correctly, though, the manifesto remains as relevant today as it did when it was written and can be a hugely valuable tool for developers, teams, and an entire organization. I hope you enjoyed this video today on the Agile Manifesto 12 Principles. If you did, go ahead and smash the like button. And if you want to see more videos on project management topics, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I upload them weekly. Thank you.